In the studio with me now is Ollie Tunmore. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? You all right?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. You're an undergraduate media production student, and
I am, yes.
You're here to talk to us a little bit about your latest project, your graduate project.
Yes. So it's a graduate project that I'm doing with the Terence Higgins Trust, the UK's leading HIV support charity. It's been going for since June last year was when the idea first came to me, and it's kind of been progressing since then. It's titled Living Positive, which is a sort of purposeful play on living positively and with a positive HIV status. And the 3 separate documentary videos sort of piece together the story of being diagnosed, living with, and the future of HIV care.
That's great.
So you said you made it for Terence Higgins Trust. How were they involved with the project?
So I actually approached Terence Higgins Trust after just visiting a clinic myself in Brighton. I was on placement for a year in Brighton, and I was determined to come back to uni with a definite idea for a placement, for a graduate project. And it just came to me one day. I had a proper sort of light bulb moment, and then I came back to them the next day. I thought, this could work. I think this is a good idea. So I pitched it to them. Hi, I want to do a graduate project. I think the charity's fantastic. I want to give back to you after you give so much to our community. And it just kind of developed from there, really. I pitched the idea to them. I then kind of expanded from the Brighton team to the head office in London, the PR team. And that kind of developed over the summer, just kind of like backburning, getting ready for returning to uni. And then as soon as we got back to uni, it was sort of full speed ahead with pre-production, casting, location scouting, all of that, which they were really involved with. I would go to them with some ideas. They loved it. Basically everything, thankfully. They just kind of approved everything. So they've been really supportive. They've been fantastic. They found the interviewees from the campaigns that they managed. One of the staff members herself, Sue, was actually one of the main interviewees for the piece, and now I've been working with them ever since. I just got the feedback this week actually on the first draft of the edit, which I was obviously incredibly anxious for.
How did that go?
Really well, thankfully. I was prepared for it to go either way, and thankfully they loved it. They just had a few sort of minor pieces of feedback, which is obviously always welcome.
To be expected as well, first draft of anything.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd be worried if they didn't, really. And then we have a launch event on the 11th of April, which is just kind of for the charity and sort of friends and family in Brighton, and then it goes live to the world on the 15th of April.
So that event in Brighton, though, is that a screening of all 3 documentaries or a teaser or what?
Yeah, so that's the first time all 3 of them will be screened together. So it's for the charity namely, but also for the cast and crew, the family, the friends, kind of like an exclusive thank you really to the people that have been involved.
So you mentioned before a bit about the production. What was the most challenging aspect of that?
I think probably the most challenging part has been the nature of the context of why the project's come about, which is obviously the graduate projects. The assessment says that you have to work on 2 other projects, but the group of friends that I have on my course, we all agreed we're going to work on each other's because we wanted to support each other, and we all had useful skills for each other, and so that ended up meaning we actually worked on 5, all kind of simultaneously running at the same time. So over the space of about a month, I was the production manager for a documentary 3 days before mine, my own in Kent, my own one in Brighton, a fictional film in the New Forest, an audio project in Bournemouth. So I think that's probably the most challenging part, is just, simultaneously having to give 100% attention to like 5 different projects at the same time.
I'm guessing when you're going from something that's you're saying like a fictional piece to a documentary, and that's quite a bit of a confusing shift to make.
Yeah, because they're very, very different projects really. Like a fictional film filmed in the middle of a forest requires a completely different approach to a documentary filmed in a studio in Brighton. So it's completely different skills, completely different challenges. But they've all gone very well, thankfully. We're just kind of wrapping up the final project over the next couple of weeks, and then we're pretty much done.
That's great to hear.
Did you learn anything surprising?
How...
Should I rephrase?
No, just how challenging it can be, but equally how rewarding it can be. Like this project actually started just as an idea to do like a short film, and that was it. And it's kind of grown legs and has just started walking without me, sort of thing. It's just kind of grown and grown and grown. It's now like this huge piece. We did a talk with Terence Higgins Trust for the first time in Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago, which I hosted with them. We've then got the 3-part documentary, and then the launch event, and then there's a social media campaign to accompany that, to release it.
Oh, great! I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, you know, it's kind of just grown massively, obviously with my input, but it's kind of just the nature of it. It's just kind of developed more and more and more. So that's obviously been very challenging in some respects, but equally really rewarding, because I've proven to myself and to my co-workers that we can do it.
Where can they find your documentaries?
So they will be, at least one of the videos will be hosted on Terence Higgins Trust YouTube. We're working on. I'm sure it's going to be on their social media in some capacity. We're hoping all 3 of them might be, but at least definitely the actual one of the employees herself, Sue. We're hoping that video will definitely be live on their YouTube from the 15th of April. But then the other 2 will be kind of very clearly signposted where else you can get them. But yeah, keep a lookout. It's #LivingPositive, and the handle is @THT.org UK.
Ollie, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was great.